Hello there. Hey there. How's everything going for you today? Everyone treating you kindly? Good. That's what matters, especially if you're in the car all day. You want to have pleasant people to hang out with. So what kind of music do you like?
I like all kind of music.
Do you like soft rock?
Soft rock?
Yeah.
No, it's not one of my. It's not on my
70s and 80s.
It's more
Billy
nostalgic.
Ocean and Christopher Cross and those guys. And
Yeah, I like
well, if you ever want to meet up with lots of positive, phenomenal people, this is the band I'm in, Yachtley Crew. We're playing tonight at the House of Blues, actually. Our first time on the huge stage. We're so excited.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been picking up steam. A lot of positivity in that audience, and anytime we play somewhere, it's just good vibes all over the place. We wear these
You
fancy.
play soft rock?
Oh yeah. All the love songs. You never realized how. Look at this. We all wear our captain's hats. Oh yeah. We all wear our captain's hats, our blue blazers, our white pants, white shirts. Oh man, it's just so much fun. And so it's like basically we treat it like it's a time travel. We kind of take everyone on this big dream cruise back through the 70s and 80s.
Right.
And wow, you never realized just how many of these songs. You're like, oh my God, I totally grew up with these songs. Hearing them in the malls, hearing them in the grocery stores, hearing them in on TV, you know, with soundtracks and films. You're going, oh my God, no way, that song. And, oh man, it's just amazing because all these people are sharing these memories with each other. And it's just amazing. And plus, a lot of those bands are not out there touring or maybe they only had like one hit song.
Like I said, it's like a nostalgia type of thing. You bring people, you know, back to a moment in time.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so. I never realized until I joined this band that by singing love songs, like, wow. I mean, there are guys.
Or you play.
I sing along with the guys. I'm behind the keyboards. We got 7 guys in the band, and I would say the superstar of the band is a saxophone player we got who is. The poor guy broke his foot. He jumped off like a 5-foot tall incline. During a couple of the songs, he'll go out there. He's got a cordless, wireless mic on his sax. He'll go out there, and a lot of times he'll walk along the bar tops or pop up in someone's booth and.
Really just do his thing.
Oh yeah, it's so fun. So one time, he ended up getting a little too high up there and jumping off and breaking his foot, his heel. So now he's in a.
What was he wearing?
Yeah. He was wearing his boat shoes, and now his one heel he's got actually one of those casts. It's like a really soft cast. But so the good news is he's walking on it now. Before we know it, he'll be dancing and going back out, you know, climbing on tables again. But man, it's so good. What kind of music do you prefer?
I mean, I write. I do music. You know what I mean?
Oh, you write?
Yeah, I'm an artist.
What
rap.
Oh, okay, I got you. You rap.
Yeah,
And
I come from a rap.
do you have music out there that's available on SoundCloud or something?
Yeah, I'm like Clark Kent driving right now, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm mild-mannered, but when I, basically...
Proceed straight on West Verdugo Avenue.
It's your alter ego?
Not an alter ego. I'm an established artist driving Uber, basically. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I say it's...
I mean, a lot of folks like that.
Not an alter
Make a
ego,
right
but
turn
just...
on North Toluca Park Drive.
You know, I got another... Basically, I'm an artist, but...
Where would people be able to find your stuff?
Everywhere you can download
Just
music,
ahead, make a
or
slight right turn on North Pass Avenue.
Amoeba, or you know what I mean? Because I haven't put out. My last project I put out was last year.
Make a slight right turn on
Oh,
North
okay.
Pass
At the
Avenue.
beginning of last year, I did a collaboration album with my boy.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's the name of your project?
The last one was called Oakland to Inglewood, because I'm from Oakland and he's from Inglewood.
Just ahead, make a
Open
left
to
turn on
Inglewood?
West Hanford
Oakland.
Drive.
Oakland to Inglewood.
Yeah.
And so is that the the name of your project that you
that I
carry
did
on
him.
with?
No, that's the name of the project that I did with my boy.
Oh, gotcha.
He's an artist from Inglewood, and I'm an artist from Oakland. I'm from Oakland. He's from Inglewood.
That's great.
So it's Oakland to Inglewood.
And so Oakland, Inglewood, and then that should pop up stuff on just everywhere, huh?
Yep, iTunes, Spotify, everywhere you download music, you just put Oakland to Inglewood, and you'll see it. It's a bright red cover.
That's great.
Yeah, I act. I'm a screenwriter.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So.
What are some of the projects that? There's the one that people could find your.
Well, as far as like my acting.
Yeah.
Like I was on ER before they stopped shooting that.
Oh, cool.
That was like my first gig.
Oh, that's great.
Well, my first paying. That's what got me SAG eligible and all that stuff.
Oh, here we go, right here. Well, thank you so much, man. This is a great ride, and may you do all the great things that you love doing. I just gotta.
Your show tonight,
oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited. We can't wait. Can't wait to yacht rock their socks off. All right, man. Take care.
Yes, sir. Have a good show tonight.
Thanks. Bye. There you go. Oakland to Inglewood.
I think I'm listening to Inspirado Projecto. Once again, you are listening to Man Behind the Machine.
All right. Okay, so here you are with Philly Ocean on the way to another Yachtley Cruise show.
How's it going, everybody?
You might have heard in the last podcast, there is a show tonight at the House of Blues, large stage. If you'd like to get those free tickets, please visit yachtleycrew.com. You'll get free tickets, but this is only before 6 o'clock p.m., and then it's over, and then you got to find those tickets someplace else. So, okay, so I always wanted to know, Phil, what's your history with singing?
How long do you have?
Did you? I started singing Lionel Richie when I came out of the womb. Well, when did you?
Kind of.
When did you first start singing that people started telling
funny story. My history with music goes back to when I was in the womb.
Really?
Because my parents would constantly play music, my mom always had the record player on and whatever. They were listening to a lot of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, and Fleetwood Mac, and, all of these 70s bands that some years later, miraculously, I knew all of the lyrics to.
Oh, my God.
And my mom commented on it. She was like, I can't believe you know the lyrics to these songs. It must have been because you heard them so many times when I played them and you were in the womb. Wow. But, I'm an only child, and I have always been in the mode of really entertaining myself and entertaining my mom. And I've always loved music. I've always loved to sing. I used to sing along to Richie Valens' La Bamba when I was a kid, and I've always loved it. It's always had a profound effect on my life.
So what's the first, because I can imagine you definitely being in talent shows and stuff growing up, like what was the first time where you go, what the heck, whether maybe it's a musical, maybe it's a talent show, an open mic, where you go, I'm going to go ahead and sing for the populace right now.
The first memory I had was when I was probably 7 or 8 years old. I was, and still am, by the way, obsessed with the movie Ghostbusters. Just obsessed with it. And we didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up, and we were in a Kmart, and they had the toy proton pack that was made by Mattel, and it was like something like $20 or $25, which in 1988 or 89 is no small amount of money. And my mom, she didn't have that kind of money, and I wanted it so bad, and I was so bummed that she wouldn't get it for me, and I didn't get a lot of toys when I was really young because they just didn't have the money. I'd get them on like the holidays and the birthdays and stuff, but never just because, And so, but she said, you know what though, if you want to figure out a way to make some money yourself, then I'll bring you back here and you can buy it. And so we went back to her place. My mom, she had quite a social life when I was younger. She would have friends over and they would party and they would, have drinks or whatever. And I actually, when I was younger, I was the resident bartender.
Oh yeah.
I was tasked with making. Let me tell you, I could make a wicked gin and tonic.
Oh, that's great.
Which was the drink at the time. And so she had some friends over that night, and I got it in my head that I was going to do a talent show, but I was going to charge $5 admission.
Dude, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
She had 4 or 5 friends over, and I charged everybody $5.
Oh my God, incredible!
And that night, I made the 20 or $25,
dude,
to buy this proton pack, and then bugged her every day for about a week until she took me back over to buy it.
Oh my God.
So
wow. I
think probably somewhere in my young mind, that moment was me kind of threading the needle.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I could maybe there's something to this.
Wow. That's so clever.
Yeah,
that's
was
so clever. She must have been so proud of you, going, "Wow, look how fast you did that."
Well, I think she's always been very proud of me. I think probably it was not her preferred method of me,
right?
Basically charging her friends,
yeah.
But you know what? They loved it.
That's great.
They dug it. They thought it was hilarious.
Oh, so. That is great. That is great. So it sounds to me like that was like a
yeah.
There was like a domino that started.
That was a huge domino. Yep. Maybe one of the first.
What would you say was because I assume that would give you confidence to go with experience to go into the next one. What do you think was the next one? Maybe at school or
to be
on the playground?
I
perhaps?
mean, you know what? Confidence is something that I have a long history of struggle with. But I have, like, most of my career, both as an actor and as a singer and a performer, has been a struggle with feeling confident in what I'm doing. But there's just something too important to me about storytelling and performing and art that it's too important to ignore just because I don't feel necessarily confident in it. And I mean, I've been working at it for a long time, so the harder that I work, the more my confidence, that's kind of the relationship with confidence, the harder you work at something, unless you're just blindly confident, which is true for some people, but unless you're just blindly confident, I think your relationship with confidence comes through really working and honing your skills in your craft.
Mm-hmm. So what was the next thing that you did? Do you remember? Was it a musical?
I mean, we did family talent shows.
Oh, that's cool.
I kind of got delayed a few years after that because I had a big move when I was 10 years old from Buffalo, New York, out to Scottsdale, Arizona. And so, and that was actually an event that, when I think back on it, affected my confidence level because, I was basically a stranger in a strange land in many ways, and I didn't fit in school, and I felt behind in my education because the Buffalo School District and the Scottsdale School District were very, very different in terms of their standards and their practice at the time. And so I was like almost a full year behind in math, and there's topics that when I got to my school out in Arizona, I had no idea what they were talking about, and I internalized it as like thinking that I was stupid or not smart or whatever, like I should know this. So that was a very interesting experience. I did get into band. I started playing percussion in band in 5th or 6th grade, and I really enjoyed that. And then it was in late 7th grade or early 8th grade so several years later, that I started performing with my best friend Brian Swanson, who I'm still friends with like 26 years later. We were like super nerds, and we had joined the science club, and he was the president, and I was like the secretary, note taker, whatever. And the science teacher that was in charge of this club was really trying to get our membership up. She wanted more kids together. We were doing cool things like, rocket launches and build your own rock, and like
Oh, cool.
those CO2 cars that you build out of balsa wood and all these things, actually cool stuff. And she wanted more people to be involved. So the school that I went to when I was in middle school was in a pretty nice area of town. Scottsdale's like a pretty wealthy area, even though we didn't have a lot of money. Meanwhile, my mom's working like 80 hours a week to like keep us in this apartment. But we had TVs in every classroom of our school.
Wow.
And what they would do is they would broadcast on TV the morning announcements. And most of the time it was the vice principal, and he'd get up there and he'd just read very dryly, the list of, such and such is happening, and don't forget to buy your prom tickets. Not prom.
So you kind of had like your own TV station?
We had kind of our own TV station.
Oh
but
my
it
God.
was like not that. And I think it was set up that like the president of the student council got to go on and like they got to do, the student portion of the morning announcements. But if a club or an organization on campus had an announcement to make, the kids could go up there and they could get on camera.
Oh, that is great.
And so our science teacher said, why don't you guys go on the morning announcements and do something creative. Like do something fun that'll, get kids to come out to our, science club or whatever. And Brian and I at the time were obsessed with Saturday Night Live. I mean, we would watch it every week without fail. We would watch the repeats that they had at the time on Comedy Central. We would imitate the skits. We would do everything. And so Brian came up with this idea, well, why don't we do our announcement in the form of a skit? So we started writing these skits that were basically ripping off of Matt Foley, motivational speaker, played by Chris Farley, and Hans and Franz, played by Dana Carvey and Kevin Nealon. And I think those were our two main go-tos. We did a couple other ones too, but and we started doing these comedic, quote-unquote comedic. I mean, we thought they were funny. I don't know if they actually were. But we started doing these almost every week. We would go down to the morning announcements, and we would do these skits together. And we slowly but surely became known throughout the school by the kids at the school, as the two guys who were doing this, stuff. And we kind of gained a reputation for being, these like funny guys and whatever. And that continued in high school. We did the morning announcements.
Oh, wow.
All through high school. And then it was the end of my freshman year, my English class, we were given the option to either write a 25-page report, or they were trying out what they called a new media project. And you could do a new media project. Basically, you'd have to come up with whatever that was. It had to do with like radio, TV, art, or something else. And you'd have to pitch the idea to the teacher. And then if she approved it, you could do it. And so basically, it had to be about Romeo and Juliet, because we had read that. And so a friend of mine and I came up with the idea, well, what if we did a abridged version of Romeo and Juliet, and we filmed it. And it was just the two of us. So it meant that basically we had a girl in it who played Juliet, but I ended up playing like 8 or 10 characters.
Wow.
From Romeo and Juliet. And it was like a 20-minute film, which, I mean, it probably could have been 5. It didn't need to be that long in hindsight, but my teacher called me aside after class, and she was like, so have you ever thought about acting? And my thought to myself was, what is that? I mean, I knew what acting was, but I never, ever thought about acting in terms of something I could do. Or that was like a possibility.
Wow.
And so her saying that to me, like, radically changed my life from that point forward. She said, well, I think you should go out for the school play in the fall. And at the time I was actually working out and like exercising to prepare to be on the football team, because I thought that would be fun, and I'd never really been into sports that much, and so that shifted, and I didn't end up going out for tryouts for the football team because they were the same week as auditions for the school play.
Wow. Wow. What was that play? What was that first one?
It was a play called The Dining Room by A.R. Gurney. I believe that's the name of the author, A.R. Gurney. And it's a play where there are 6 actors, and each actor plays about 7 to 10 roles throughout the play, because it's a collection of scenes that all happen around a dining room table.
That is cool.
So yeah, it was a very very interesting and insightful experience, and then for the rest of my high school career, I basically was in every main stage production at my high school from that point forward, and it was definitely laying the foundation.
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah. So.
Did you do open mics or community theater?
Yeah,
or
we
any
did
of
open
that jazz?
mics all the time. I didn't do a ton of community theater. I just never got into that. This is not where we need to be. Sorry, I'm also driving while doing this extensive interview. So, bear with me, everyone. Yeah, I didn't do a lot of community theater. I went straight from high school, to an acting conservatory in New York. And the first thing they said when we got there was, you're not supposed to audition for anything. Which never really felt right with me.
Yeah.
Their philosophy was, we want to train you, we want to break you down and retrain you before you go out and start acting and stuff. And I always thought, well, like, what is a better way to learn than, like, by doing?
Yeah.
By actually, like, doing it and trying, you know? So I guess just different schools of thought. So I didn't do any community theater. I just kind of had this, experience in New York, and I was supposed to be there for 2 years. I left after a year. And then I went out to California and started film school.
Oh, that's great.
So I was wondering if we could if you'd be open to something. Can we continue this interview another time? Only because I'm doing a lot of talking before a show.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
And I don't want my voice to get too tired. Yes. But this is really
Ladies and
fun,
gentlemen,
so we'll pick it up.
We shall pick it up, part 2. Sayonara. So Paulie, we're, so it's 4:33. We're going on stage what time tonight?
9:45/10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. And how many times have you been on the stage performing in your illustrious career?
This stage in particular?
Mm-hmm.
This is the first.
It's the first.
Yeah.
Now, second question. How many times have you done stage dives off the stage?
Stage dives? Successful stage dives?
Successful ones.
Where I have not injured myself or others?
Mm-hmm.
Zero.
Mm-hmm. And the others have involved someone getting injured?
Yes, usually.
Who was usually getting injured?
Audience members.
Uh-oh.
But 99.9% of the time, it's audience members, and 0.01% of the time, it's myself. And that's kind of done me in.
Are they just? Do you think they're just not ready to catch you, or what? Where's the folly?
The folly was in my volley.
The folly usually does lie in the volley, doesn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
I volleyed a little too far.
Oh, you volleyed too far.
I misjudged the distance of the volley.
Oh, good God. Oh, good God. So they just didn't catch you appropriately?
And you know that you always have to judge your volley properly before you attempt to do, otherwise you get a folly.
Yeah. You have got to dial in that volley. Folly, otherwise a folly.
Mm-hmm. No stage dives.
So, I'm thinking if we had a really short bungee cord for tonight's performance, you could at least bungee off the top of the balcony, and then get right back up to the top.
It said bungee cord was attached to like a belt, like a Batman belt, utility belt.
Absolutely.
And I could like
Oh, jeez,
press a
yes.
button. I could just go shoot it exactly. I have like a my
God.
glasses has
shit.
not an infrared but like a
Oh, God.
laser pointer.
Oh, yeah.
Aim
So yeah, so you always get the aim
target
right.
aim. So
Oh,
I
my
just,
God.
wherever that red dot is,
Dude.
I press the button, and it attaches to that rail.
Ooh.
And you can go sailing up, or vice versa. Like I can attach it.
Ooh, it could launch
and
you
just
up there,
press
it
a
could
button,
launch
and
you
it
back.
could slowly
Ooh.
like drop me down to the floor.
Ooh, that sounds so rich and ripe right about now.
Yeah, I could probably aim if the bungee cord or cable. It sounds like it'd have to be a cable.
Oh, yeah.
If the cable was long enough, I could probably go up to that scaffolding.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Can you imagine
Holy cow.
how my insurance rates would go up at that point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you'd also be, I bet, you get a lot of sponsorship from companies that make padding, and also saxophones.
Maybe indestructible saxophones.
Yeah, because they could say we sponsor these indestructible saxophones for a daredevil, a stuntman, if you will.
Like titanium. That's really
Titanium.
strong, but very
Oh
light.
my God, yeah, titanium indeed.
I don't know about the acoustical properties of titanium, but it'd be pretty sturdy. Don't you think?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know so. I mean, I'm the expert on the subject.
You're the expert on the titanium.
Yes, titanium saxophone.
Do you also know a lot about adamantium, which is the strongest metal in the Marvel universe?
No. But I did notice that there's a lot of band members missing, and they just brought beer into our green room
Oh
recently.
geez, hold
So
on.
I think
Maybe
we
it's
might
time
be-
for us to let's go take a walk into the, some might call it the wild side. Let's go take a walk into the wild side. Oh, I see Chaz drinking something.
I think it's a diet beverage.
Oh, it is. All right, well. Hey, man. Good to see you again. I'm so glad we're all collaborating on tonight's experience.
These are warm. That's why no one's going for them.
Oh.
Warm brews.
Well, that's why someone put them up in the freezer. I'll put one up near the freezer, too. Monkey see, monkey do. Monkey see, monkey do. How you do, how you do. Monkey see, monkey do. How you do, how you do. Let's make sure there's one beer for each of these rascals. So no one... Monkey see, monkey do.
The beer cold?
Not quite yet. However, as they say, warm beer is better than no beer. At least that's
I don't know if they say that.
what I've heard them say.
I used to drink more beers back in high school. When we like try to sneak a beer out, and they go, you know, like, the only beer you have is like you gotta drink it.
Oh yeah.
Warm beer, you're like trying to put it. You don't even like beer at the time. You're like, oh.
Yeah, you're just trying to force it down.
Yeah.
Tommy, what was the first time? I was asking Phil in the car here today. His history with singing and all that jazz. What was the first time you like picked up a guitar first question, what was the first time you picked up a guitar?
My mom forced me to play guitar when I was 10 years old. Well, she forced me to play an instrument, and I chose guitar. And she bought me this tiny classical guitar, but it was like a mini guitar. I was 10, so it's like small size. So I remember just like it was like in the car after soccer practice in the minivan, and I was like in the back, just messing around.
You were strumming
with
in the
it.
minivan?
Yeah, trying to figure something. I didn't know what I was doing, but then I went to lessons, and I was 10, so I vaguely remember the lessons, but I know the first song I learned was Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. You know what I mean? Like, ding 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 ding. And I remember I played that for my grandparents after like my first or second lesson, and they were all like, "Woo!" So
when you saw that kind of progress happening with the learning the guitar, did it inspire you more to learn other songs?
Honestly, the first year or so of playing, I was like, I was just going because I had to. Didn't really love it that much, but then I had a friend at school that was into Nirvana and grunge music at the time. This is 1994, and so he was like, after school one day, he was like showing me. He had a Strat, like an electric guitar. I didn't have an electric.
Oh boy.
And he started showing.
It must have changed everything.
He started showing me like "Come as You Are" by Nirvana and "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and I like couldn't, because I had been taking lessons. I like could play it instantly. You know what I mean? So it was like instant gratification.
Oh man.
And then I remember, I like begged my mom for a Stratocaster because I really wanted like an electric guitar. So I got. I begged for a while, and I don't know if it was like a birthday or Christmas or whatever, but they bought me like a Fender Squier, like the $150 one or whatever. And I remember once I got it, I like sat in my room and put on Green Day Dookie and just tried to learn the whole album because it was like all power chords.
Wow.
Which is like a really simple chord if you don't know guitar. And I just like would go through the whole album, and from there I was like learning Nirvana songs, and then I learned Metallica songs, and then I was learning 311 and all these other 90s bands. I was just learning all 90s music. And then I kind of stopped in high school, and then at the end of high school, I realized I wasn't going to be in the NBA, and I was like, I really love music anyway, so I want to do that. And I just kind of like went back to guitar lessons and threw myself into it like pretty hardcore.
What was the first time you actually got up on stage and played in front of people?
This is funny. This is 7th grade. So my 7th grade band teacher allowed me to play guitar in the school band, which was cool. You know, so like as long as I was reading music, which I was, and she, you know, we'd play along with whatever band song we were doing, and then she allowed me, one of my friends that was a drummer, and another friend that played guitar. We didn't have a bassist. But she would always see us like trying to play rock and roll songs during band and being like, we're not playing that, you know. But to her credit, she was like, okay, well you guys can play one rock and roll song at the school concert.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's
so great. We were like, we're gonna do a Nirvana song, and I wasn't the singer. This other dude was a singer. I was the guitar player, and we didn't have a bass player because nobody was good enough to play bass, and the drummer. And we didn't want to do Smells Like Teen Spirit because it was like, oh, that's the cliche. We were like too cool for that, 13 years old, you know what I mean? 12, 13. Like, we're not doing Smells Like Teen Spirit. So we did this like super rare B-side called like verse, chorus, verse or something like that, which is a great Nirvana song actually. And I learned the whole guitar solo, so I took the solo in the middle of the thing. But I was so fucking nervous going in front of the whole school, you know what I mean? It was like the whole school came to this recital in the middle of the school day. And before our song, I was fucking like, I had never been that nervous in my life. But I got up on stage, did it, and it was like instant afterwards, everybody in school was like, all of a sudden we were rock stars. And that was the first time I was like, oh, this music thing is pretty cool. Like all the girls are coming up to us like, you guys are awesome. Oh my god, that was amazing. Because we like did a fucking cool rock and roll song instead of all these lame band songs, you know? And so yeah. So that was that, and then I actually kind of stopped in high school for a bit because I was like focused on sports. I never quit per se. I just like didn't play as much. You know what I mean? I like wasn't dedicated to it, so I was just too busy doing other shit. And yeah, and then at the end of high school, I went to see 311 at Lupo's in Providence, and I walked out of that concert in 1999, which is like I was in 11th grade. It was like October of '99. And I walked out of that concert and I was like, said to my buddy, my best friend who ended up playing bass in my band, I was like, we're starting a band together, that's it. We're
that's
fucking doing
incredible.
This. And I had like 1 year left of sports, and like as soon as I was done with basketball my senior year, we were like going full force on the band.
Oh my god.
So, yeah,
dude.
cool.
And then little did you realize that one day you'd be playing basketball with the dudes,
I know.
and then being on their
cruise.
freaking cruise, man. Talk about manifestation of reality without you even realizing it.
That was a synchronicity that was like, God.
Oh my god, that is brilliant. That's brilliant. David, oh yeah, tell me more about your, so then what was the first band that you were in?
Well, that band that I played in front of the school, we had a name called Early Dismissal.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. But we never really played out. We never like played a show at a club or anything like that. And then, well, alright.
So after you saw 311, that was the
band,
first real band, right? Was that the one? After you saw 311, you go, yeah, let's make a band? Or was there one before?
So that band was started off being called Premonition. And we did that from like...
Wow, talk about premonition.
Mm-hmm. So that was like from like 2000, 2001 to 2003. We broke up the band in 2003 for like 6 months. And then we came back as a band called Someday Providence. And that was the band from 04 to 2010 when I moved out here. Well, we really broke up in 09. It was like 04, like 5 years. And we had a pretty big like local hit, the song that I wrote called Summertime in Rhode Island, and it was like huge.
Wow.
Huge locally, not huge like nationally, but like it was kind of unheard of. It is still kind of unheard of for like a local band to get played. Like we were played on the alternative rock radio
Incredible.
station.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And it wasn't like during the local show. It was like they would play us during the regular rotation.
Amazing.
Stuff. And we were like number 1 on the top 12 songs of the week or something like that. It was crazy.
Amazing.
So, yeah, we ended up having like a really good following in Rhode Island. We played a show at Lupo's, actually, the place where I saw 311, although it had moved to the
So you
street.
played at the same stage that you had seen.
Well, it was the same club, but the club had moved down the street, so it was technically different, but 311 has played at that club too, so.
Incredible.
Right.
Incredible.
So, we played it there, at like the height of our, whatever you want to call it, success, sort of success. And we drew like 800 something people for a local band, which is like, and that's not like paying, that's not a free show. That's like 800 something people paid to come. We were the headliner.
Wow.
And yeah, so that was pretty crazy. And then we also played there a bunch of times opening for Badfish, which is the Sublime tribute band.
Oh.
And those were like always sold out, 2,000 plus people. And so that was really cool. Every time we played those. Yeah.
So you did. So that's what was going on before you moved out here to California.
Right.
What a great thing to have as, because you had so much momentum in that, and then moving out here, it was great because
I was always trying to get the band to move to LA with me. Also, that's what 311 did. They were from Omaha, and they were like, "We're moving to LA, and we're gonna get signed," and they did. So I was trying to always convince my band, like, we gotta go to LA. And when it became clear they weren't coming with me, I was like, well, I'm going. And here I am. Now I'm in Yachtley crew.
Did they continue making music with their band or no?
Well, they're all doing different things. Drummer is playing in a 90s tribute band called The Pogs. Bass player isn't doing anything, but he's been talking about doing stuff again. And we might have to go for something.
Are these guys aware that 311 is, you're playing on 311 cruise?
They are aware, yeah.
Oh my God, they must be flipping out.
Can you tell them how loud you want to hear my voice tonight? Yeah. Yeah. Check. Toot.
You are now hearing the sound check.
Bring it up in the bass wedge. Bringing it on up. Yeah. Check. Can you bring me up in my ears too?
We shall talk more.
Hey, check.
More later.
Check.
This is for your in-ear? Yeah. Cool. Percussion. Hey, just percussion, please.
So I've been asking these guys their roots, where they came from, like the kinds of things that first got them interested in their instruments, and the first times they got up on stage. So you started as a drummer? I mean, we're here to talk about David Bowie. You started as a drummer?
Well, naturally, drums were first for me, but all my uncles, who are just a few years older than me, had a little mini band going on down in the basement, so there was a drum kit and some guitar playing and stuff going on. My grandfather was a guitar player. But the first time, I remember Tommy was telling the story about a high school thing. I'd been playing in kid band since 10, 11, 12, playing neighborhood parties out in the neighborhood.
You and the kids?
Yeah.
Me and
a couple other guys.
What were some of your beginning bands? We
were playing Beatles songs and stuff like that. I had a band called Oh man, I can't think of any of the names of those groups now. It's so hard to believe. Well, the last big one was Molotov Grasshopper, and before that there was something 22. I don't remember what it was. But we were just playing, just
211 or
we were
12?
doing covers,
Going around town.
There was a band that I would sub in for, and they were called Curb and the Cruise Tones because the guy's names The guy's names was Cruz, and then the guy who played guitar was Keith Curbo, and they were doing like Rush and all kinds of stuff. They had a really, really good drummer. And so I sat behind him most of the time and watched him, and then when he would get tired, I'd sit in and play the Easy Beatles songs and stuff like that.
Oh, that's great.
So that's when that all went down, and then. And then I didn't get real serious. I never even owned my own drum set until I was 17, and I bought it used off a buddy of mine for $100, and set it up in my girlfriend's basement.
Philly's dad, hey!
And played with the stereo. 2 speakers on both sides of it. You just sit there and you rehearse.
Yeah.
And so then when I got into college, my buddy Jerry was a really good guitar player, and him and I had a band called Into House, Indahous, and we just did instrumentals, purely instrumentals, no singing, no nothing. And sometimes we'd have a couple of guest appearances, but that's where I earned my chops, and that's when I became a really solid player. And one day, we were letting a buddy of ours, crash on our couch. He was in from Florida. He was going to school down in Miami U, and he came back for like a holiday week. I don't remember, it was Christmas time or spring break actually. And we were playing one night. We were all smoking, some bowls and stuff and hanging out, shooting shit. And he looks at me and he goes, "Dave, I want you to get into a band. You are way too good to be playing upstairs in this house right now. You need to get into a band." And he says, "I'm gonna help you find one." And so one day he shows up at my house and he pulled a tab off of one of them, flyers with a tab on it. He says, "They're looking for a band, and here's a drummer. Here's the bands that they play, and I want you to go audition for them." And he forced me to go do it when I was 20. And then I turned 21, and then I was let in the band, and I'm wondering if it's because I was 21 and I could buy beer. Or if I was really that good. But that was the beginning of Molotov Grasshopper, the 3-piece version, before we had our female singer. So Ben and Tony and I were playing in a shithole basement, dungy, nasty, grotesque. And we would play house parties and stuff, and we just started writing songs, and that's how we built a catalog. We had a catalog of about 100 songs, and then when Amy joined the band a couple of years later, we put up she had another probably 80 that we put into the rotation, and then she primarily took over and became the main singer. Got signed to a major label deal, toured all over the Midwest, played some of the same venues that a lot of these guys like 311 were playing in. In fact, Nick knew the Blue Note that I was mentioning. When I met him at the poker party that we played, he comes up to me and I was talking to him, and I go, "Hey man, I saw you play back in the day, Columbia, Missouri." And he goes, "Blue Note." And I said, "That's it." I said, we almost opened for you one time. This would have been 1993.
You talking about the poker to charity we played?
Yeah, the charity
Wait,
event.
he was there, the 311 guy?
Yeah, he was there.
Really?
He was there playing. He got knocked out early, and I saw him leaving, and I walked over to him because I could tell it's him. He's this tall, I got a picture with him.
Wow. I didn't realize he was there.
Super nice guy. So yeah, we had talked before. So it's going to be kind of cool to have everybody, get together again. Should be good.
Is that the same guy that Tommy plays basketball with?
Yes.
And did Tommy, did you see him at the poker thing?
He didn't. He missed him. I tried to find him, and he wasn't anywhere around. Nick at the poker thing. Oh, I didn't realize that. I tried because I came backstage to try to find you guys. So anyway, that's a brief history in time.
That's incredible. So that led you. At what point did you join the Larrys? I remember you telling me about that one.
We at one point when Molotov was on the verge of demise, either we were going to make a move or we were going to stop playing or stay in Kansas City, and I suggested jokingly that we move to LA, and they all agreed. I couldn't believe it. And so in 1998 we all moved out to Los Angeles.
Wow.
That band continued on for a couple of years and kind of flustered and didn't really do too well. And then while I was involved with that, some guys came over to me one night and said, "Man, we need a drummer for our band. We're called the Larrys, and it's a joke thing, and this is what we're going to do." And they gave me the whole premise. And then that band took off, and we were playing everywhere in Hollywood. The House of Blues, Los Angeles, the Whiskey, the Roxy. The gig on Melrose was our primary spot, which is no longer there.
It sounds like
It's now a barbershop.
I'll talk to you later. He's got to say something.
That's okay. Pause.
And now, some very, very special sounds from Pauly Shores. There you go. Pauly Shores, the maestro himself. Everything. Okay, we are here with Pauly Shores. We have I've been waiting to interview this fella. He's my unofficial brother, my brother, right here. Pauly Shores, Stony Shores, from Yachtley crew. And Pauly is the sexy sax player, the daredevil, the stunt man of the group. And I need to know, Pauly, what was it that first inspired you to pick up the saxophone?
That you could also do circus stunts while you played the instrument.
Ooh!
You could jump on the trampoline and play, the theme to, what do you call it? James Bond.
Oh, yeah.
Da-na-na.
Ooh!
Da-na-na.
Oh, yeah.
Da-na-na. Is that what he's talking about?
I think so. Oh, yeah, to double doors. He's like, don't go down the elevator. And so, he wasn't kidding. He's very true about that.
You could jump on the trampoline. Can we go back in this way is the question. No. Oh, you guys going to the loading dock or to the parking garage? Yeah, you're going the right way. Yeah. Down to number 1.
Let's see if we can just lightly... So you started doing that, and then how old were you when you first started playing the saxophone?
Let's see. I remember I signed up for 6th grade band, and it was the most popular instrument at the time. So I was actually in band for several weeks, probably several months, a couple months, without my instrument. I was like the only... No, there were a couple other kids, because the store was... the local... I grew up in Salinas, which is at the time was under 75,000 people population.
Oh.
So the school I was at was very small. And the band director was only we only had band 2-3 days a week. It wasn't an everyday class. It was like an after school class thing.
Wait, is it?
No. Oh, wait. This is where my car is.
Oh, this is it. Okay, yeah.
So we are going to the parking level 4 at the House of Blues.
Parking level 4.
For general parking. That's where we're headed right now for our audio people in listening land, audio land. So to continue along with my...
I love that, listening land. That's so good. Listening land and audio land.
Audio land.
So you saw some great success in others playing the saxophone, and were there any musicians that you had heard who had played the saxophone? You're like, ooh, I like that. Like that sounds really good.
Yeah, I mean the initial attraction to the instrument was kind of an aesthetic thing.
Oh.
It wasn't an auditory it wasn't because I knew specifically how the saxophone sounded and I wanted that to be my sound. It was more like I like how that instrument looks. It's kind of cool because I was a 6th grader.
Right.
I didn't really care about. I listened to whatever, at least a cult jam in the 80s. I didn't really care about music. I was just whatever I can dance to with my friends. I didn't really care about instruments or music or whatever. So it was just really that looks like a cool instrument. It's shaped like an S. I need something to do with my life because I'm in 6th grade and I don't really have anything that I stick out and I'm good at. So I'm going to try this one thing. I wasn't good at sports. I was clumsy, as you can tell. I broke my leg.
Did you join the school band with this saxophone?
So
did you start really?
Yes. That's what I was trying to tell you. I joined the school band, and I didn't have an instrument for 2 months because the store was out of them, so we had to order them. We're coming home from school every day, asking my mom, "Did my saxophone come yet? Did you pick it up? Did the store call? Has my saxophone come?" 2 months every day after school. I was so excited to start playing the saxophone. It was all I could think about.
Oh my God.
And when it finally came, I don't remember the exact day and time of the week and the year and stuff. And all I remember is that it was I couldn't put it down. I couldn't stop playing it. In fact, I went into my garage of my parents' house. I totally forgot about this story. I used to tell this to my students. And because when I would teach private lessons, I would tell them, because you're teaching them, the first-time students, you're teaching them how, it's okay that you're making mistakes. Here's an example of how I made a mistake. I didn't have a private teacher until I was playing the saxophone for 4 years. So I was trying to discover it on my own, what my band director would tell me in the class with other, 25 other kids. And the first night I played by myself before I even went to band class, and my director corrected me, I had the mouthpiece upside down. So on the
So
saxophone,
that whole time you were
if
playing in the
understand-
garage, it was upside down?
Yeah, if you understand, probably about 45 minutes to an hour, something till my mouth couldn't handle it anymore. Like if you know anything about the mechanics of the saxophone, the way the way the sound is created is there's a plastic or some kind of, there's metal mouthpieces on saxophone too. There's some kind of mouthpiece that the wooden bamboo reed that's filed down to a really like thin, like balsa wood, kind of super thin. Really, if you can kind of imagine what a reed looks like, cut into a little square that fit on top of the mouthpiece. You blow through it, and it's like your vocal cords. It vibrates against the mouthpiece and creates a sound like. When you hear that sound with your voice, that the way that translates to the saxophone mechanics is it's, instead of vocal cords vibrating against each other, it's a wooden reed vibrating against the mouthpiece of the saxophone.
Interesting.
So if everybody in listening land or auditoryville puts their hand on their voice box and goes, you can feel those vibrations.
Yeah.
Right? So for every sound created, you have to have some kind of vibration. If it's flute, it's the air vibrating over the mouthpiece. If it's the oboe, it's the reeds vibrating against each other. If saxophone is a reed against a plastic mouthpiece, and a trumpet is the lips.
So is the saxophone similar to the way that a kazoo would work?
Yes, because the kazoo has reeds, but it's a plastic. It's like a plastic sheet, a sheet of plastic that vibrates against the diaphragm. It creates a diaphragm.
So the saxophone is less about blowing the air in and more about.
No, there's no voice. No,
you're
I'm
not.
sorry. That was merely an example. You're not using your vocal cords at all when you play saxophone. It was just an analogy.
Oh, gotcha.
So when you play saxophone, it sounds more like this. I'll try not to blow right into the microphone. So if you can just hold it like this, little 45-degree angle, I'll blow across it. When you play saxophone, all you do into the mouthpiece is go. You just blow air.
And that's it.
But you have to get your lips the right shape and the orifice, the inside of your mouth, the correct shape to get the reed to vibrate.
And the way your tongue is positioned.
The tongue stops and starts the sound. So the only role that your tongue plays is like when you're talking, when you articulate. Same way. That's really the only way you use your tongue on the saxophone. I mean, once you get into it, and after you've been playing for like a few years and you're getting really advanced, you can actually adjust the pitch with your tongue, but that's really advanced, way down the line. Like I never teach that to beginners.
Have you learned it though?
Yeah, you have to do that to hit those really high notes.
So for Yachtley Crew,
you're
doing
using
that?
my tongue. Yeah, it's like your vocal cords.
Dude, there's so much cooperation happening.
Yeah, it's a lot of manipulation of the air stream and the reed. Like bending the reed and your air at the same time. It's very advanced stuff, yeah. Because it's easy. Saxophones it's a kind of a what do you call it? Like a misleading instrument, because kids pick it up or students pick it up for the first time and they blow on it, and it's easy to create a sound right off the bat. You can learn. You can know. Like I have kids that come back when I was teaching over at the 6th grade band. We have class. It's kind of a. I'd like to change the format of the band class, but that's not for this time. It's a different story. But we meet once a week. Okay, so maybe I give the kids their instrument the first week, and they make the worst sounds ever in the world. It's like, I record it every year so I can play it at the concert so the parents can hear it.
Brilliant.
But the saxophones always come back 2 weeks later, and they've learned either Careless Whisper or Baker Street on their own on YouTube.
Wow!
After 2 weeks.
Oh my God!
That shows you how easy it is to find the notes on the saxophone. Like it's like easy. Kids get lulled into it, and they're like, "Oh, it's such an easy instrument to play. I want to play this out." Everybody ends up
sounds
wanting
like a very
and it
encouraging
looks
instrument.
cool. Yeah, it is. You get good results right off the bat, but it's hard to play well. It's hard to play in tune. It's hard to do that articulation you're talking about, and kids right away get kind of mesmerized by all of the buttons.
Oh yeah,
and they want to like just play really fast. You know, like they blow and they don't know what they're doing, and they move their fingers across because there's like the saxophone has like 25 different buttons on it.
Oh my God, yeah.
25 different buttons, and it's like, you can just go hog wild and just sound.
Yeah, it looks like a tree. When I look at that, it looks like it's a tree of buttons.
But it is. I think, in my opinion, after teaching and playing music for over 2 decades, I think the saxophone is one of the easier instruments to play.
Incredible.
Like, once you understand the mechanics and how to do it, the trumpet seems easy because it only has 3 keys. It's not. Like, you have to play 7 different notes with one key key combination. Like open. If you don't press any buttons and you blow with your lips, you have to be able to do this. Like be able
my
to hit
God.
different pitches with just your mouthpiece and your lips.
So each
Like, that
little
was
thing
a
you're pushing in is a different octave, so to speak. Is that what it is? It
That
enables
was a very bohemian example, like a very, so not bohemian was a better word.
I like that word. I'm going to start using
no.
it. Bohemian.
I don't know if that's the right
Very
context.
raw, very
yes, very raw,
yeah.
unperfect. Like you
Yeah.
get the impression
Yeah.
I'm trying to like what I'm talking about, but it's
Perfect.
actually it's very challenging. Trumpet is brass instruments are all very challenging because you have to be able to hear the pitch and also vibrate your lips at the right frequency and get the right finger combination.
Whoa.
But saxophone, you just pretty much blow and you press the right keys and it'll do the right thing as long as you don't. I mean, there are some things, but I think flute is also a hard instrument. You try playing the flute for the first time for 20 minutes and you feel like you're going to pass out.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, because there's nothing to vibrate. You just blow across the top of it. So if we misdirect your air and you get no results, you just can't get a sound. And after like even 20 seconds of that, I'm already feeling lightheaded.
So having the
So you have
reed
to, like,
kind of helps you.
yeah,
it
gives
lets
you
you
some
gauge. It's like a.
resistance, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So that is my story.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. That is Pauly Shores, the saxophone extraordinaire. You have got to come to a Yachtley Cruise Show to experience it yourself, to really, really, really feel the vibes. Feel the vibes. This is the last segment on this podcast. You're listening to Inspirado Projecto. Please feel free to go to podcastawards.com and vote for Inspirado Projecto as Best Arts Podcast and also the Adam Curry Award, if that excites you. Also tonight, we're at the House of Blues, Anaheim. That's where we're at, Anaheim, tonight. Go to yachtleycrew.com, get your free tickets before 6 o'clock. Oh, it's at 6:30 right now. Well, anyway, come on by. We'll see you later. More to come. Keep that in mind.